Alright, hello once again. Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD, or Application Website Development 1000 Web Development Technologies class, I'm creating a fictitious website called Jacked and Jilled. Even though there is a Jacked and Jilled, it's for a fictitious gym. And what I'm doing is, as I'm creating it, I'm trying to use the major concepts that are explained in the textbooks for our class. In the last lecture, which was the first lecture, I went through the doc type and what that's about, talked about the HTML tag and the fact that we're using English and we're going left to right, went into the head section, and in the head talked about what the Unicode character set is, how the page is designed to be responsive from the start, what the fix, so to speak, for Internet Explorer is, all right, and the fact that we will add more meta tags later, and what the title tag is for. All right, so I'm not yet, there's a couple more things I want to put in here, so I am not yet out of my, I am not yet out of the head section. What I'd like to do, because there's two more things I want to do, the first thing I want to do is I want to go to my working version of this, and in my JavaScript folder I've got a file. I thought I did. Oh, I think that, okay, alright, what I did was I used this, what's called a CDN, and I'll explain that in just a moment. Yep. So let me grab this. Alright. So the first thing that I want to do in here, let me get back, there we go. Alright, is I want to do a file, new file, and I want to create a new file, and I want to do a file save as, and I want this new file to be in my CSS section, and I want that new file, I want it to be called style.css. Alright, and you can see it's been saved. That's good. Let's see, what else do I want to do here? I've already grabbed this, which is a good thing. I'm going to just take that and save that for myself for just a minute. But I also would like to go back into my working copy, and I apologize, I should have had this stuff ready beforehand, but you know what, we're working with what we got, not a problem. And under CSS, I want to grab a file that's called Normalized.css. There it is. Okay, it's available on GitHub. So let me go out to GitHub there. There's Normalized.css. Download it. And here's the file. So I'm going to grab everything that's in there, copy it to the clipboard, go back into Visual Studio Code, create yet another new file, and I'm going to paste that in, and I'm going to call this file Normalize.css. It's already in my CSS folder, so I'm going to call this Normalize.css. There it is. Okay, you can see the color change. Good. What that file does by default is, for lack of better words, it tries to turn off most of the things, most of the settings that browsers have turned on by default. All right. So the first thing I have to do is add this file to my program. So I want to go back to my index file, and I want to tell it to add that file. And I can type in the word link, I can hit tab, and boom. It says, oh, you want a link in a style sheet. Okay, I want to go to my CSS folder, and I want to find Normalize. Alright, so the first thing I'm doing here is I'm adding the Normalize .css file to, for lack of better words, turn off any default browser settings. Now that's true, yet it's impossible probably to turn off every setting, but I'm turning off most of them. All right, then next I want to add my own cascading style sheet or CSS file. All right, so how am I doing that? Pretty much the same way. I'm going to say link, but now I want to say css/style.css. The order in which you put these is very, very, very important. This is turning off everything. This is going to be adding things. If I reverse the order of these two, it would basically, the system would take a lot of the settings I'd set here, and if that one was second, it would turn them off. Of course, that's not what I want. The last thing I want to do in here, and again, is this mandatory? Well, if I think that some of the people looking at my site are going to be using very old versions of Internet Explorer, like IE 6, 7, or 8, I'm going to put in a fix here. So I'm going to say fix for older Internet Explorer or IE browsers. All right, and little thing here, note I am using a let's put out what it is, a content delivery network or CDN. All right, now I'm going to go back to that little code part that I grabbed before, and I'm going to grab this. All right, let me add in my ending script tag. Here we go. So what is this doing? In English, this is going out to the internet, to this website right there. And it's finding that JavaScript file, and it's including it in my file. Again, what it's doing, what this is ending up doing, is it says, okay, if you've got older versions of Internet Explorer that are trying to bring up this website, and it comes up with HTML tags, mostly HTML5 tags, that it doesn't understand, don't have the program, quote, blow up, unquote. Now, is that put well? It's put okay. All right. So we've now got, to my knowledge, our entire head section done. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back into the working version, and I want to show you how I plan on attacking this. All right. First of all, like I said, I'm not going to claim this is a beautiful site or anything else. It's functional, which is what I wanted it to be. All right. I'm going to set this up where this right here, this is going to be my header section. All right. Then my content section basically starts here and it ends right up above that gray thing. But when I build it, I'm going to build this first. Then I'm going to build this. Then I'm going to put this in there, which takes no time. We'll talk about it later. Then I'm going to build this. And then finally, I'm going to come in and put in what's called my footer. So this will be my header. This whole thing here, from here on down to right there, will be what I refer to as my content or my main area. And this, which I wish wasn't, come on. But this thing that's down here in gray, that'll be my footer. All right, so header, content area, and footer. I'm going to build this very, very methodically. I'm going to try to use HTML5 concepts and constructs as we're going through here. This by no means is meant to be perfect. Okay? Also, you might look at this and say, well, what's with the red? What's with all this stuff in here? I did a little bit of work with colors. Maybe you don't like my colors. You could change them quite easily. All right, but you'll notice whatever page is active is red. So I haven't even done the About page or the BMI page or the contact pages yet. The About page now looks like this. Notice when that becomes the active page, it turns red. These two pages I've done nothing with so far. And when I go back to my home page, it turns red. I want to explain to you what all that is, how all that stuff is used. And I think, as I'm over 10 minutes already, I'm at 11 minutes, that what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop right here. All right. And as I start to lay this out, all right, again, as I mentioned to you, I'm going to have in here a header section, a main section, and a footer section. All right, so before I finish up here, because I pretty much am done for now, I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to have a header section, and that header section is going to be followed by a main section, and that main section is going to be followed by a footer section. All right, so that's, as I set my page up, that's what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to do this a little different in that in the next lecture I'm going to do as much of the header section, if not all of it, that I can. Then I'm going to jump down and do the footer because it's very, very, very short. Then I'll come back and do the main. As we do this, we're not going to add, you know, what I plan on doing, let's put it this way. I'm going to put in the header, then I'll add some CSS. Then I'll do the footer, and I'll add some CSS. Then I'll do the main, and I'll add some CSS. So the idea is to get it to look like this when we're done. All right, eventually we're going to have another page here. We're going to have 3 more pages here and 3 more pages here. I'll talk about that later on as we get to it. All right, so that's, I think, a good stopping place right now for us.